Yo, what's up?
Yo, what's up people, how's it going? It's Soundyman here with another video game review. Today we'll be looking at the 10th incarnation of Mortal Kombat X. Back when I was a very young and impressionable child, I enjoyed playing the Mortal Kombat games on SNES. I enjoyed it more than Street Fighter 2 at the time because it felt a lot more satisfying to hear the crunch of an uppercut in Mortal Kombat or the screams of someone landing on spikes than just the boring Shoryuken. Obviously, I didn't buy it myself at the time. My parents loved gaming, so they bought it for themselves and I mooched off their stuff growing up. But the SNES games were my only foray into the Mortal Kombat universe for many years. While I wasn't paying attention, the series got stuck into a really awful holding pattern of mediocre title after mediocre title. It was finally pulled out of that rut in 2011 when they retconned the entire series and did quite an excellent job with Mortal Kombat 9. It returned to the 2D fighting style and actually had a pretty decent story for a fighting game. The enormous backlog of characters and plots created during those off years really built a good universe to pull stories from. The game made everybody love Mortal Kombat again, and that's a tough proposition for any sequel to live up to.
Story.
Mortal Kombat X follows the same idea of 9 of having chapters dedicated to each specific character. The main plot in this game follows Shinnok's quest to take over Earthrealm. He's evil and he wants to take the life force of our realm to become more evil. It's a bit boring of an idea, but the character interactions and dialogue and how every scene keeps unfolding makes it interesting to keep playing. It follows the common cast of characters that weren't killed off in the last game. There are new playable characters introduced as son and daughters of the original characters and scenes that take place 20 years in the future. The story is definitely interesting enough to keep your attention, though some parts do feel like the game is rushing past to get to the next chapter. There are also a lot of characters that you don't even get to play as during the story, like my favorite Ermac, but it's probably better than just being shoehorned in there for the sake of it. Mortal Kombat X doesn't have the greatest plot, but the personality of the characters and just seeing how each scene turns into a fight keeps it interesting enough to see through to the end. Also, the length of it doesn't make that hard either. You could probably beat it in under 2 hours or so. I would like for the story to be a little bit longer, but it was fine for what it brought to the table.
Gameplay.
Mortal Kombat stands out from other fighting game titles like Street Fighter and Soul Calibur by having combos mainly based around pre-made target combos. Because of that, the combat is extremely easy to pick up for a new player as opposed to something like Street Fighter where it's a lot more free and you have to figure out everything on your own. It's a lot easier to do combos and link them together in this, so you won't have much trouble playing the game if you're new to it. The characters are all nicely varied too, and some changes have been made to them from the previous Mortal Kombat. You can now choose your style of play for each character as well. The style you choose affects your special attacks by either enhancing ones that are already there or giving you entirely new ones. A lot of the times, by at least my standards, the best choice is usually common sense, and I was never torn over two different choices. But I suppose, depending on how you play, you might be conflicted. Talking about characters, I have to mention the heavy emphasis placed on DLC in this game. I'm a bit negative towards DLC in general, but I do appreciate the effort put in to spice up a game later on in its release. In story mode, you fight against characters like Rain, whom you can't play yourself yet, and he's most likely going to be DLC down the road. The character is basically done. People have modded the game so you can play as him, but they're just holding him back so you have to pay money for him. You needed to pre-order Mortal Kombat to get Goro as well, and then a couple other DLC characters were announced before the game even came out. It makes you feel like you're not playing a complete game and getting your money's worth when the knowledge the inevitable and complete edition will drop in a few months with all the DLC included. When playing single-player modes like story and ladders, you have to deal with the AI. Fighting game AI is notoriously bad, and this one definitely has a few hiccups I saw. The one that I noticed the most was with characters that have grapple attacks that require you to press buttons during them. You hold onto your opponent and mash a couple times to hurt them, then you throw them away. But the bots see these moves as a chance to go grab a snack or something because they just take so long to do it. After finishing the story off, you still have a lot of modes to choose from. You could do the classic tower battles, which give you challenges and objectives to complete in a fight. You can go to the crypt and unlock extra content like alternate costumes, or you can go play multiplayer. Mortal Kombat, I would think, is a lot more acceptable and easy to pick up for new players, so I prefer taking this over to a friend's house rather than Street Fighter. Acceptable as in ease of playing, of course. It's Mortal Kombat, so it's a bit gruesome with the X-rays and fatalities, so some people may dislike that. However, Mortal Kombat is great for casual play if you just want to sit around and get by mashing on some buttons with other people. That does mean, though, that the professional scene is a lot more limited than Capcom-developed fighters or games with Smash in the title. So if you're looking to become a fighting game wizard, you should probably direct your efforts elsewhere. But it still does have an established group of dedicated players on testyourmight.com. Online play ran pretty smoothly besides one or two people I was matched up with, but on PC at least, it kept taking a really long time to find anyone in the basic ranked mode even though there were around 7,000 something people playing at the time. We'll see how Mortal Kombat holds up in the long run, but a lot of times fighting games get abandoned on PC. Injustice Gods Among Us, another game developed by the Mortal Kombat people, doesn't even have enough people playing at the same time to show up on Steam charts anymore. You can find people in Ultra Street Fighter 4 on PC, but other things like Skullgirls don't have enough people playing at the same time to make it a worthwhile online experience. And I can't say for certain, certain, but there's a definite possibility that Mortal Kombat may follow. Also on Steam, the developers made an extremely poor decision to do a sort of streaming download system. Basically, you download the base game, which is around 3 GB first. With the base game, you can't play most of the levels, a few characters, any story mode or online mode, and it's pretty much pointless to have. To get the rest of the game, you have to look under the DLC section. There you'll find around 30 extra gigabytes and 29 DLC packs. You have to download each pack to play everything else, and it was so annoying for me. I finished downloading everything after a couple hours, but the game was buggy and it kept telling me that all the packs weren't downloaded, so I couldn't play online. My only course of action was to uninstall everything and then reinstall it again, and it finally worked after that. But it was needlessly complicated for them to just do any of this. Mortal Kombat X has fun gameplay. While the fighting game enthusiast in me prefers Street Fighter, the gamer in me definitely prefers Mortal Kombat. It's a lot more fun at a basic level than many other fighters could be. However, while there are a few negatives with the game itself, I take issue with anything the game has done relating to DLC. The streaming download system was a bad idea, and the knowledge of extra characters that are going to be released down the road keeps nagging me in the back of my head. It feels like I'm playing an incomplete game that I paid $60 for.
Graphics and sound.
Mortal Kombat has decent graphics, though it's very poorly optimized on PC. It sometimes just straight up refuses to start. It crashed my video drivers a lot of times. It does a weird skipping thing at the beginning of single player battles sometimes. After lowering my quality settings down a lot, I was just surprised at how moist the game is. It looks like everyone is glistening in every scene like this is oil wrestling or something. But the graphics aren't that bad. I just dislike how dark the entire game is. This level where you're at Raiden's temple has all this rain pouring in front of your characters, and it's pitch black, so it makes it really difficult to discern what is happening.
Conclusion.
I know I tend to focus on the negatives in my reviews, but Mortal Kombat itself is a nicely made game. While I prefer Street Fighter style games with more freedom and combo creation as a fighting game enthusiast, Mortal Kombat is really fun and easy to play for me as a general gamer. It may be poorly optimized, it might have crappy AI, and the story could be a bit longer, but I thoroughly enjoyed what I played of this entry in the series. The main problems I do have with Mortal Kombat are based around the things about the game rather than in it. I dislike the heavy emphasis of DLC placed by the developers. The streaming download system on PC was a mistake, and the game crashing many times left a bad taste in my mouth. But besides a few flaws, the game is great otherwise, and you'll definitely enjoy it. But if you don't need it today, a few months down the road, the inevitable Enhanced Edition with all the DLC included might just be the better purchase.
Scorpion wins. Fatality.